super tight turn. Jesus Christ. Just pulled hard as fuck. What's up, guys? Good morning. So I dropped my car off 2 days ago at Driveline Vista, and Frank, I believe he's the owner, he's definitely the guy doing the swap, told me to give him about a week just because he has other projects going on. But I dropped the car off Wednesday afternoon, and he actually called me early Thursday and said the car was ready for pickup. So it was less than a 24-hour turnaround. It's Friday morning. I'm going to pick the car up right now. So I mean, obviously I haven't talked to him yet, but it seems like it was straightforward and simple install. So I want to talk to him and see what the big deal was with the other shops and why they made it seem so difficult. So we'll head over there right now and pick the car up. Here we are, Driveline Vista. Frank said straightforward, no issues whatsoever. Yeah, like I said, less than 24-hour turnaround. So if you guys are looking for any type of differential work, LSD, this is Vista, California. I just got back home from picking the car up. I'm gonna set up my camera and go for a little rip on the canyons to do a review and my first impressions on the Wavetrac LSD. So Frank gave me the factory unit, the open diff. Never looked at it. One thing I can say though is just from holding it in the box, it feels probably 5 times lighter than the Wavetrac unit is. So here's the factory unit. Still, let's see here. See what it looks like. So that's all it is. There's the factory unit. In the bag. So yeah, there's the open diff. It's all greasy, don't really want to take it out, but yeah, there we go. The tune kind of sucks right now. I'm going to be retuning it soon, but so the car is a little underpowered. But this is my initial impressions. I'll let you know how it goes. Just gonna rip through some of these canyon roads. Let's do it. So first gear, 100% traction, no issues at all. So I've already done a couple first gear pulls. It reminds me kind of like an all-wheel drive car now. It just pulls. There's no drama, no traction issues. It just goes. And there's no weird pulling or anything like that. The car feels still sort of like it has an open diff. So no sketchiness there. The car just pulls and has traction. So I'm not sure if you guys could pick it up on the camera, but these roads are pretty tight canyon roads. Jesus, fuck. Yeah, this thing is fucking nuts. It just fucking sticks like it's on rails. So it is running a R compound tire, and it's a 225 width. Yeah, super grippy tires. Oh man, this might not be the best review for high horsepower Fiestas. Like I said, the car is kind of underpowered right now because it was a high altitude tune for Colorado, and I still haven't gotten to the new tune, so I've already paid for it. All I have to do is start tuning. I have the base map. I've just been, like I said previously, been trying to get the car registered, and then now I was dealing with the LSD. The next thing I'm going to do is get it tuned, so I'm going to have a new 91 tune. Should pick up quite a bit of power on 91, and then I'm also doing an E30 tune, so that's going to make a big difference. So I'm not sure how much the car is making. Let's say, I don't know, maybe 250, maybe to the wheels. So it is, you know, it's not a 350 wheel horsepower Fiesta, but I think the Wavetrac would have no problem whatsoever, even with a much higher horsepower car. So here's a turn that I usually will lose traction on. Let's see, second gear turn, super tight turn. Jesus Christ, just pulled hard as fuck straight out of that corner. Yeah, crazy. No traction issues whatsoever anymore. So yeah, the car handles perfectly like the open diff does. There's no weird torque steer, there's no weird pulling. It feels very similar to the open diff, but now there's just traction at all times. So I was doing a little research into the difference between the Quaife and the Wavetrac. The Wavetrac just seemed like a better option. From everything that I've read, I don't know if it's just marketing or what, but I've read customer reviews, I've seen reviews by you know, different automotive technicians, I guess, and it just seems like the Wavetrac is a better unit than the Quaife. It deals really well with different level changes. If you're going over bumps mid-corner or something, it doesn't get squirrely, where I've heard that the Quaife can kind of have strange handling characteristics. So that's a big reason why I ended up going with the Wavetrac. Also, I'm not sure if this relates to the Quaife. I didn't really look into it, but one of the things that I did find while researching was people were saying that, you know, it's a lifetime warranty. There's no issues with it. I was reading and watching videos of people talk about, well, is there, you know, do I have to worry about horsepower limits? Is it going to break, or will it be catastrophic failure? From what I've researched, there are really no horsepower limits. I don't think that the LSD would ever be a weak point within the transmission. I think it would be the transmission, the gears themselves. But yeah, from what I read and watched, it just seemed like, you know, the Wavetrac, it doesn't break. You don't need to worry about horsepower limits. I mean, especially in a Fiesta. What I think the craziest Fiesta was probably Russ's, and I could be wrong, but I think he made something like 460 wheel horsepower, and I don't think that's anywhere near the limits of the Wavetrac LSD. So that's something you won't have to be concerned about. I talked to Frank, which was the guy at Driveline Vista. He's the one that did the install, and I asked him, he changed it. He put the new gear oil in, and I asked him, is there a break-in period? Do I need to worry about changing the gear oil or anything like that, or maintenance? He said, nope, it's all plug and play. You're good to go. All right, I'm gonna do a little first gear pull, wide open throttle. Complete traction, second, complete traction. Yeah, no drama whatsoever. No chirping going in the second, no traction loss in first. So typically if I rolled on the first like that, as soon as I got in the boost, it would 100% spin the tires. And then going in the second, it would spin, chirp, and slightly spin. But now, first, rolling on, no issues, through second. Yeah, it's a big difference. And I can't stress enough, what I keep saying is, there's no weird characteristics. I've heard that a lot. I've personally never had LSD in a front wheel drive car, so I can't personally compare it to anything, but I've heard a lot that the characteristics change in the car. And the only thing I can think of is it gets more torque steery. Even Frank was telling me, I mean, this is what he does. This is his business. He just installs LSDs and differentials and drive shafts. That's what he does. And he even said that before he did the install, he wanted to make sure that I understood that the handling characteristics of the car could change dramatically. And I haven't noticed anything. I just ripped it through the canyons on super tight turns, high speed turns, and it feels the same as it did with the open diff. So that's obviously going to be a benefit, because you don't have to worry about getting used to the car again or acclimated again. It feels like an open diff, but the only difference is now there's traction, and you don't have to worry about, spinning the tires and not going anywhere. Looks like I'm going to be stuck behind cars through the rest of this road, but I'll just give you my thoughts on it. So the Wavetrac, I believe, is right under $1,000. Is it worth it? I think absolutely. I was quoted for the install anywhere between $800 was the lowest, and then Mountain quoted me $1,600. That was just for the labor, no parts. $1,600 I thought was a little ridiculous. I mean, I think that's to be expected with Mountain. It seems like everything they do is overpriced. but the people that were quoting me 800 didn't actually end up doing it. So I don't know if that's relevant either. But like I said, I went with Vista Driveline Vista, and he charged me $1,200, which was the labor, and then I needed the gear oil, which I didn't supply. So, you know, you're paying roughly, let's say, about $2,000 if you're paying for the install, which I personally think is worth it. I mean, the wide body or the fender flares on this, plus the tires, plus, I mean, you're spending more than $2,000 there, and that's just in the attempt to get a wider tire. Obviously, there's aesthetics involved. I love the way it works. They're not completely equal. It's not comparing apples to apples, but $2,000 for basically solving the traction issue that these cars have, being that they're front-wheel drive, I personally think is more than worth it. But I mean, if you do yourself, if you do the install yourself, which a lot of people do, you're only talking $900 to $1,000 if you go with the Wavetrac. If you're going to be doing the install yourself, $1,000 for the LSD, nothing. That's so worth it. You solve the traction issue. I'm surprised that more people don't do it, to be honest. It seems like it's the very last thing that people do. And most people I know, especially with upgraded turbos, they always complain about traction. And they, you know, whenever they're running people or at the autocross or whatever they're doing, they complain about not having traction. So to have $1,000 or $2,000 to basically eliminate any traction issues, I'm frankly surprised more people don't do it. So with that being said, I can't recommend it enough. I love the way the car feels. I know this is just, I mean, I've been driving it for 20 minutes, so I don't have a ton of seat time, but it's a night and day difference. I can only imagine when I retune and then tune on ethanol, how much of a difference it's going to make at that point, because I would imagine I'm probably going to make close to maybe 50 more horsepower, give or take, when I'm on with the ethanol tune, and that's going to make a huge difference, I'm sure. So I'll revisit this, you know, I'll revisit the LSD once I retune on ethanol, but judging by the way it feels now, I think it's going to be the same thing. Like I said, I am running an R compound tire, so it is a sticky tire and it is wider than most people run. I know a lot of people run, you know, they stay with the factory 205 or go up to 215. So 225 is slightly wider than 215. It's nothing major. The biggest thing is obviously the tire compound, but again, I can't recommend this enough. Awesome upgrade, and I'll be updating you guys in the future as soon as I tune on ethanol. So if you guys found this video helpful at all, give it a thumbs up. That's greatly appreciated, and it helps the channel, as well as subscribe. Like I said, I'm going to be producing a lot more content now that the car is registered. I got everything good to go, so stay tuned. More content coming soon.